I'm pretty sure that you who's watching this video come across at least one homeless person every day. Well, if you don't, at least I stumble upon them every single day. So watch till the end as I have the chance to listen to some of their stories, and one of them will shock you and will serve as an advice for you, especially parents. But since we don't speak English here, I'm gonna say what they told me. So I came here to buy 7 plastics of food and drinks, and I'm going to give this to random homeless people that I'll find along the streets. I really wish I could buy more, but let's see who are the lucky people to get these. It didn't take us too long till we spotted these two guys who were apparently looking for recyclable material, and that's when I decided to approach. Not too long after I got there, another homeless person showed up. Two of them told me that they ended up in the streets due to addiction to drugs, but I honestly don't remember what the third one told me. I then later spotted this girl. Well, actually she came to us and then she went back there, so I had to go after her. But unfortunately she could not talk, and so I just had to give her food and then just leave. So there's no story with regards to her. But I had to stay just a little longer because one of her hands was removed. So I had to help her open everything that was sealed so that it would be easier for her later. But she seemed to be quite a nice girl. But no one in this entire video was as nice, humble, and respectful as this man, who also had a missing hand. He thought I actually bought the food for me, but then after seeing him, I sacrificed the food for him. But then I told him it was fine because I actually bought that for him, and he still went on to offer me to sit and eat with him. Even though this would have been his first meal, he didn't hesitate to share. That's the true definition of a pure heart. Not only would have I made his day if I actually did, but he surely did make my day. It only takes small gestures to impress someone. This guy was among those first people whom I gave food to, but I had to give him food again because his friend didn't want to share with him. Now we had only 2 plastics left, and we came across these young boys who usually stay in a group of 6 according to them. These young boy ages range from 14 to 17, and I had this boy go call the others. And this got me a lot worried because it just made me understand how parents are not responsible for their children. They all had their chances to tell me their stories, but I'm just gonna tell you about one of them who told me his parents would always yell at him and sometimes blame him for things he did not do and even beat him. The message I would like to leave to every parent watching this is that education is the most important thing you could ever do to a child. To me, it doesn't matter if you yelled at them because they did something bad. That is simply the fruit of your education quality. Kids don't have responsibilities, and they're not mature enough to stay in the streets and fight for survival. Because how are they gonna survive? What do they know about how to survive? Non quero, sei che musica, Eventually, I ended up in a house that was full of kids for my happy ending. I just had way too many candies to not be able to distribute them. And so this was the house, but I had to explain myself before I gave out the candies because, everyone is suspicious about this. And so as long as they don't know who you are, you're really gonna have a hard time. I had to learn the hard way and give that advice to these kids.
Assim que estamos a filmar, é para mim.
É um programa, vamos eliminar um programa.
É, vai filmar, não, porque não vou vamos filmar eles.
Então, poder levar.
É para mim todos esses bolsinhos. Ah, muito obrigado. O problema é que roubam criança. Roubam criança. Vai para lá outra criancinha que está aqui.
Ah, já tem.
Você é
To be honest, this is one of the most exciting things that I've ever done because I like kids. Haven't had this much fun in a while.
Receberam todos, né? Uau!
Você é meu
Apanha
gênero.
todos, Mila, apanha todos. Ah, grita assim, vamos lá.
After I left this house, these kids were really happy. They enjoyed it as if it were a party.
Anda levar. São quantos? São quantos? 1, 2, 3.
I kinda tried talking to this young man collecting these bottles, but he just didn't react to my calls. So I just walked straight to the man ahead of him.
Como é que é, meus irmãos?
Ora,
Tudo bem convosco? Sim. Estão a recolher garrafas? Recolhe garrafas, né? Ok. Vende, né?
vendemos.
Ok. Quanto é que faz?
Tem 1 litro, tem 5 litros, tem meio litro, tem 1 litro e meio.
5 litros qual é? Tá ali, esse aqui. Vende a quanto? 5 metros de caixa.
Mas aqui conosco é para ter
5 metros de caixa, né? Faz tipo, não pesam, não fazem. Ok.
Mas eles podem para o caixa já. Aquilo ali que ele pegou na UEPET, aquilo ali é...
Tá 100 metros de caixa. Ok. Faz todos os dias, isso que vende todos os dias. Às vezes, ok. Ok. Quando é que fazem por mês por isso?
É mesmo, nós somamos.
Só né? Mas tipo, passa 100 por mês em um dia. Consegue passar?
100, o que é 100, irmão?
Consegue?
Só pode desprezar, 100 não é nada.
Não é nada, né?
Se pudesse, sim, podemos fazer, depende.
Ok.
Tá
muito pouco.
Está vendo aquele plástico pequeno ali?
Aquele que está ali?
Já tem esse ritmo de gás.
Sério?
Aquele plástico africano.
Ok.
Mas ele pode não vender onde eu vendo.
Ok. Sim.
Material reciclado.
Tá aqui desde 2012. Sim.
Eu migrei com ele.
Sim.
Com a empresa aqui, em Araçan Garcia. Me
Ok.
fizeram de volta, me fizeram assistir aquele vídeo aqui dos traficantes.
Ok.
Voltei. De novo.
Ok.
Eu, de ser famoso, voltei de novo, consegui, imigrei.
Aham.
Eu fui subsair na África do Sul. A minha volta eu entrei aqui. Porque esse projeto aqui de Planacaniço para cá, estão fazendo cidade.
Sim.
Tá vendo?
Sim.
Modificaram tudo. Eu entrei aqui na minha casa, já venderam. A minha família me fugiu, mano. Nem!
Triste.
Tentar contar.
Ok.
Mas eu acabei depois de pegar de qualquer maneira. Tem
Foi a mesma história também, meu irmão.
Pode contar se quiser.
O pai e a mãe ficam em briga. Uau. Yeah, é complicado quando é assim.
So this is the sad reality they live. This man is preparing dinner for them. And if you can see closely, those are chicken wings. Well, those are kind of leftovers that people sort of threw away. They don't have any option. They just eat anything that comes on the table. And it's inspiring and emotional to see that they give good treats to their food. They season the food. And still, you can see the happiness in their face. It just turns out that they do have a family and they're happy to live like this together as a family. This is one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen. Not just beautiful, but also emotional. He then went on to show me the bunch of waste food that they were able to collect. It turns out it was never waste food to begin with. Note that most of the sealed food are actually outdated, but sacrifice is worth the risk. I went on to talk to a couple more random homeless people, but for the sake of the length of the video, I just didn't bring them all here.
Here in Mozambique, it's really common to have people like doing businesses or selling goods in the streets. Like as you can see here, I'm just gonna turn the. You can see some stuff like people selling things. You know, they're just like trying to get something to survive. There's a lot of people who don't work because the reason why there's a lot of people who don't work is because we don't have a lot of job openings.
This is one of the many markets we got in this entire neighborhood. Here you typically find women over 30 and just a few men. Those men either being in their 20s or early 30s. And most of what they sell are groceries. So you might just call it a grocery market.
Alina byali la hi tikela hi ntamu.
La tika mtomi.
Na tika vutomi hikusa ni leswi swi endlaka a swi humiseri tu byali swa ku para hi hanyisa ku yini hina ka yo misava leyi a hi swi tivi. Wa tindzuluta a wu tindzuluti swo fana. Ja i para hi hanyisa ku yini. Swa hlupha papa swa hi karhatela hi ntamu swinene.
Ja programisa laha nu nga kona. Ja u swi ntamu xo.
A para ku ni kuma leswi ni nga ka swona. Oh swa peza papa. Loko ni semana leyi ni nga ni 3 semana ni nga na nchumu la ni yo tshama majeni a ngele ku va no swi lava loko va ni nga li na nchumu hi matshamele matikaka.
U ni vana mamani?
Ni vana. Ni vana van'wana va tirha van'wana va tirhi. Ni vatukulu lava va nga siyiwa hi vatswari ni ngo sala ni va dyondzisa ni va hlambisa ni va dyisa ni va yambexa ni va khwelisa xapa ku ni lava ya ka xikolo. Ja swi kumeka na swi ni peza hi ntamu ngopfu swa swinene.
Swi karhataka mamani ntamu leswi swi karhataka ntamu.
Leswi ni karhataka hi ntamu papa i ku va leswi ni swi lavaka para ni veka la ni xavisa manogosi ya kona a ma fambi. Para ni ta kuma ku yini i ta kota ku pfuna vana lava ni nga na vona va ngo xaniseka hi kona va xikonta vana vinyi vo sala na mina vovo wa ku byala va papayi wa vona.
Leswi hi mali leyi ni nga no foxi na hambi xangana ni khulumi be o xita ne so hi le la ntamu i para wena mamani mali leyi
khani ma vona tlangelile n'wana ni khense ngopfu swinene
hi xona mamani
tlangelile a hosi la ni nga susa kona u ni nyika a yi ku katekisi na wena na mina leswi endlaka ku endla swona mali leyi u ni nyikeka a yi ni pfuni khani mama
hi xona mamani khani mamani
tlangelile n'wana
hi xona mamani.
Every day, over 7,000 people die from hunger, and over 150 million people don't have shelter. These people know the true value of food, which is why they don't miss the opportunity to thank even when they get the chance to get the least of the leftovers. I never understood how hard it was to be in their situation until I stuck around them. This was somehow emotional and one of the motivations for me to start my journey, and that is healing the world, and if possible, changing the world. It does not matter how much it costs me. I am always willing to sacrifice for the greater good. If you are watching this, I call upon you to join me. Do your part in making the world a better place. And by making the world a better place is not subscribing to this channel. No, that's not what's going to change the world. Far from that. It is, wherever you are, show love to those in need. It does not matter how you show that love. Just let them know that they're still part of this world, of our world. I like seeing people happy and with hope, and that makes me happy. And that's what triggered me to help whenever I can. It is better to give than to receive. Yes, the world can be better if we work together. This is something I learned from what life had to offer and being a regular kid from the African streets. This is your brother, Arthur, from Mozambique, Africa.